So for those of you who, so I see a lot of familiar faces and names, but there's also some new people here for sure. What this open session is informative, basically, to get, so some of you are already on the performance design train, you know what we are, but wanted to start with talking about the mission of the Performance Design Commission, and I'll talk about exactly what it is within the scope of OISTAT and the other subcommissions that people may be more familiar with. So the mission of the OISTAT Performance Design Commission is it's an exchange of thoughts and ideas and visions and information among performance designers around the world. I love Bassam's background there for this global organization that we are trying to get some good things out of, and so the Performance Design Commission is that exchange of thoughts, exchange of information, dialogue, hopefully, for designers around the world. Now, for newcomers, for some veterans, this is some people may log off immediately as soon as I mention this. Why performance design? As opposed to some other verbiage. Well, there's a history there that I won't go into, but the important thing about it is that performance design includes all aspects of design for live performance and live art. So that includes, but is not limited to, scenery or set design or space or simply the physical location and environment of a performance, the costumes, the lighting, as well as sound and music composition. And we'll get to another potential discipline in there as well. So this commission seeks to generate new discussions from both a representational and from a critical standpoint about the environmental language of performance. We also endeavor to share knowledge with the widest possible group of artists from diverse cultural and regional backgrounds. So that's the overall thrust of what we're doing. But to talk more about the PDC itself, it's really an umbrella commission under which the more specific disciplines and their respective subcommissions within performance design fall. So those subcommissions, so that includes costume design, lighting design, sound design, and space design. And they, by the way, will all host their own open sessions Saturday at 4 p.m. 1600 UTC. Which very few people are actually on UTC, so you'll have to find your own time zone for that. Which thank you to OISTAT headquarters for making that easy on the website. By the way, you can click "See in my time zone," and so you can figure it out. I'm always suspect anyway, though. Even when I see that, I'm like, I better double check that with a couple of sources to make sure I've got. Is it 4 hours today or 5 hours? So anyway, just be sure that if you want to know more about those individual subcommissions in a format like this, you can do that in a back-to-back on tomorrow, so at 4 p.m. UTC. So all are invited to attend those half-hour sessions and learn more about what those subcommissions are about as well. So anyway, that's the formal definition of the mission of the Performance Design Commission, but I'd like to speak a little bit more in maybe plain language about what the PDC is. So the Performance Design Commission is meant to support the creation of live performance design programming. And so that, and what makes it different, not necessarily different, but a separate entity from the individual subcommissions, is that it encompasses more than one design discipline. So in other words, discussions, conferences, exhibitions, projects, whatever you can conceive of that crosses disciplines or includes multiple disciplines. Now, you would think this would be easy because for those of us, who mostly work in the theater world, but also within live performance art and things that definitely miss what we would think of as traditional theater, but as live performance, it's always cross-disciplinary. At the very most basic levels, you've got scenery and costumes and lighting and sound in some way in there. But we tend to silo ourselves a little bit more. That may be a American term, I don't know, but we tend to get ourselves into narrow classifications, and the individual subcommissions are very good for addressing those things. But all of us are working collaboratively, cross-disciplinarily over all the projects that we do. So the projects, the discussions that we want to bring to the Performance Design Commission involve all of those things. I will hopefully not bore you too much by telling you why I first got involved in the Performance Design Commission to begin with. Again, not to bring up any demons, but when I got involved with OISTAT, it was the Scenography Commission. And to me, that spoke to me, because to me, scenography meant doing more than one discipline, which I do. I'm a scenic, lighting, and costume designer. And that was the commission for me, because I did all those things and I had interest in all those things. And within that, there were the individual groups, which we've covered already. And so oftentimes, like right now, actually, I'm working on a project where I'm doing more than one discipline. And like I said, this is what we do all the time. So this commission spoke to me. So that's what the way I see this commission is everything that we're doing should be cross-disciplinary or involving other disciplines than maybe our own. If you are solely a costume designer or solely a lighting designer or solely dealing in sound, that you are bringing in other people in those discussions. Now, before I go any further, I do also want to mention, because some of you may be thinking, where does projections come in or something like that? That's why performance design is performance design and not scenography, or something a little more specific, because we do have, so Tatiana Wilds and some other, Jan Rolnick and some others are pursuing opening that up a little bit to multimedia and digital design as well, which we all know is a big part of design nowadays for live performance, period, interactive and immersive design. There is not a separate subcommission for that right now, but I will be surprised if there's not one by the time we hit the next PQ, or at least the beginnings of one. So let me give you an example and a little bit of a plug here as well of a cross-disciplinary project and how this might come about, maybe to get your wheels spinning a bit about this. So the Space Design Subcommission, and again, show up tomorrow afternoon or morning, whenever it is for you, to the Space Design Subcommission open panel, just like this one, to learn about the stuff that space is doing, what space is about as well. But started to have meetings about a project for world stage design. And this goes back a long time before world stage design got bumped out a year. But essentially it began as an interactive space for storytelling and et cetera. It was taken on and spearheaded ultimately by Ellen Meisner and Soledad Sanchez. And what happened is, as we started the early stages of that, talked about how it's really an interdisciplinary kind of thing. Sure, we were creating this space. I say we, Ellen and Soledad and others have really done the heavy lifting there. I was just in the room at the time. But you don't just have the space, right? You've got lighting of some kind, you've got sound of some kind, you've got costumes of some kind. And so I took that proposal that they had put together, the summary of their proposal, and put it out to the other subcommissions and said, hey, this is what's happening. This is what they're trying to put together. And if anyone else wants to play and contribute to this, please do. And we had, so I know Joe Pino many of you will know from the sound design subcommission, and then also eventually Psyche Chui and Amy Chan from lighting come and say, we want to be involved. And I have to say, that has really taken off, and they've put together the beginnings of what I think will be a really interesting project. I don't, it's obviously not officially a part of World Stage Design until we get that call tomorrow, I think. I can't remember what day that is. But if by chance it doesn't go at Calgary, we will find a place to mount it, because it's exciting. And so now you've got these people who are traditionally scenic designers, to use that word, combined with lighting practitioners, sound, like what does that sound mean? I know they're talking about doing Foley live sound type interaction. And so that is a perfect performance design commission project. We left that under the space design moniker, but it has expanded truly to, because of that communication via performance design, to be a really interactive thing. So I will say, before I open the floor to questions, that sort of thing, that we will have an official commission meeting Tuesday, 12 noon UTC. So I don't know, that's like 27 o'clock for some of you. At that meeting, I would love to have people bring ideas for programming and for debate, and possibly be able to find a new outlet, kind of like this Mistura project that came out of space design, for something new. And that's something I need to emphasize, and I'll emphasize it again on Tuesday, that programming for all of OISTAT, for all of the subcommissions, comes from membership. It comes from what you want to do. It doesn't come from leadership. Leadership is here to facilitate and to hopefully to give you a pathway to that. And honestly, if you're like, well, I don't have a fully formed idea, or I don't know, this is just something I've been thinking about, this is the kind of meeting, the meeting on Tuesday is really the kind of meeting to bring that forward. Because what happens is you've got a lot of brilliant people in the room, and they start to riff on the idea, and next thing you know, you've got a more inclusive meeting. There's some talk in the chat, so I want to make sure I get that. So yeah, so Fiona mentioned that basically exactly that, that call that we did, the open call and the PDC through Basecamp. So if you need to get on, be a member of Basecamp, I'm gonna I'll put in the chat later my email for the PDC. So if you're not involved in that Basecamp group, but on a regular basis, so if you are part of Basecamp through costume, scenic, or space, sound, lighting, you should already have been added to the performance design group. But if you've been added more recently, you're probably not in there. So I'll put my email in there later that you can send a request to. Again, I see a lot of familiar faces, so that's probably been the case. So real quick, we do have an annual meeting. This is it for 2021. We've had a couple of stalled meetings because of COVID, of course. And then we will meet again in Calgary in 2022 for World Stage Design. Hopefully you all will be there. And then in 2023 at the PQ, of course. There's been talk of virtual meetings, but we do kind of, we'll see how Tuesday goes, that if we spur some discussion and some potential projects, then virtual meetings that we've had a lot of success with in space design, I know, and lighting and sound and costumes, I think have all had successful virtual meetings, then we can schedule those if there's a call for it. So with that, I open the floor for questions, for any kind of discussion about what this is. Fiona asks, will there be a physical meeting linked to your Wake project? Okay, so thank you, Fiona. I swear I did not pay her to put that in so I can plug my own project, which is done with a loose collaboration with Oistat, primarily through space design, but I'm not afraid to plug it here with performance design either. So what that is the Awaken International Scenic Design Competition, and I'll drop the URL in the chat. And what it is a it's a scenic design competition for the play oh my God, I'm sorry. I've been through a number of different projects recently, and I'm trying to juggle them all. The Lauren Gunderson play. Absolutely no one's going to help me out. That's okay. Anyway, thank you. My God, Silent Sky. Was that Dinesh? Thank you, Dinesh.
This is the play which is, I almost see like in every 2 months I go to some college and there is a Silent Sky.
So it's the thing is, it's been my life for like the past certainly the past like 9 months. So it's just leaked out of my brain, I guess. So anyway, if you are a designer living and working outside the United States, and not as a U.S. citizen living and working outside the United States, you are eligible. So any of you who design scenery or want to take a crack at designing scenery are eligible. And so originally that was set up to be, so that show will open in the spring of 2023. And originally there was going to be a mini conference for space design there. Once COVID happened, we had, because it was supposed to take place in 2022, but once COVID, the pandemic came through, we decided to scrap the idea of the conference because it created problems, because World Stage Design, which was scheduled to be this August, got bumped to 2022, and we were worried that not enough people would be able to travel to both events within the same year. Usually most people have about one international travel opportunity a year, so that's why. But I see your hand, Dinesh, and I will get to you. But just so you know, that is an idea, however, that can come out of this group of a mini conference. Maybe it's built around a production you're doing or another guest you're having in. There's no reason we can't do an in-person performance design mini conference or gathering or meeting or whatever, wherever you are, and tie that to programming, and we will help you. So yes, Dinesh.
So I was wondering whether this competition, I think I missed it, is this competition is open for student designer, or is this open for everyone?
It is open for any designer, any foreign national, meaning non-US designer outside the United States. So students, young professionals, early career professionals, whatever that means to you, established veterans. And right now, we're keeping the judging of that competition is blind, it's anonymous, but it will be, but I do know that we have people all over the gamut. I think we have a few students in there. I know we have some early career people in there, and I know we have some veterans in there. So anybody. Other questions? We actually, I didn't anticipate being such a windbag for 20 minutes, but we've got 5 minutes before the next open meeting. So I want to make sure we get to any questions. And of course, please come to the meeting on Tuesday so we can kick around ideas. But other questions about the PDC? More information that you might need? I'm looking for hands if there are any. I'm just that good at describing what we do. I'll take questions on the Awaken project too for 5 more minutes. I really do encourage, I think a lot of people had seen the Awaken project and thought that, oh, this is for students, because a lot of times these common design projects are geared towards students, but they're theoretical. This, to my knowledge, this is the first time we're actually going to produce the work. And I guess I didn't say that. The work will be produced here in the United States, and the selected designer will be brought here to work on a show. It's a proper show. So I know I was gonna send out a personal invitation to those people who I knew who were eligible, who hadn't, but like Yasmina, I know I'm looking at you. You're eligible. There's lots of people here who are eligible, so I encourage you to join us. Let me see if I'm missing anything in the chat. Make sure you guys check out those links that were shared. Producing in the pandemic, just because it's interesting.
Rob, I know that we've got some new people here and lots of people that we already know, but just in terms of new people coming in on this meeting, it may feel like the Performance Design Commission as a thing is more abstract than perhaps joining a sub-commission. So I guess I would just say to people who are new to and joining this meeting for the first time, that you might want to sort of really dip your toes in both through the program, because you might find that actually the route that you want to take in the first steps are through the sub-commissions, and then joining in with Performance Design Commission activity over and above that. So there's not just one route to being involved, I guess.
Absolutely, and that's something else too. Is because my role is largely trying to facilitate communication between the subcommissions as well. You can always just come to me and say, "Hey, here's what I'm interested in," and I can steer you to those people in those meetings and those commissions too. So thank you for that, Fiona. 2 minutes.
Perhaps,
any other?
Yeah, perhaps people who are new to Oistad, and because I see some names that I do not recognize so quickly. Are they? Perhaps somebody wants to say something or say hi or have a question, or at least I want to say that you're very welcome to this Oistad meeting, and I hope that you will join some other ones as well to get the right perspective of what Oistad is doing altogether. And I've seen some of you in other meetings as well. But if you're there and you feel like saying hi, please open up your mic or your camera if you like.
I just dropped my email in the chat for Performance Design Commission. So if you're not on Basecamp, send me that email and I'll get you on there.
I will speak in Arabic. أنا شايف هبة ومردوة أول مرة يشاركوا. طب قدموا نفسكم وتكلموا وعرفوا نفسكم للزملاء. ابتدي هبة بعدين مرة. بعدين رضوى.
Quite right.
I said that earlier, Hassan.
Okay. Sorry.
I have no idea.
Hello, everyone. I'm Heba from Egypt. I am currently in the US on my Fulbright grant to study set design. I'm an architect and scenery designer, and I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Great.
So glad to have you.
Yeah.
And glad to hear. We had a really good at the SENA session before. In fact, let me make sure I plug that today at 1700, 5 o'clock UTC is the SENA panel here. So I really encourage you to do that. We've had some really interesting things. I'll be a part of that, Abby, a number of people. So please do that. It is now 12 o'clock, so I need to throw it to the Publication and Communication Commission open session. But thank you all for joining us.
Wait, Rob. Just say you're referring to SENA, but SENA means Southern European Northern African. So to explain the topic a little bit more. So please be very welcome.
In Hindi,
Sorry,
Sena means the force.
Really?
Yeah, Sena means the army.
Oh. Well, it's a theater army, so in that case, it's all right.
Theater army is a good sense. Yep, but.
Are you joining forces? Are you joining the first forces, Danish?
Indeed, I am already A deputy commander.
Commander of the theatre army.
رضوى
Right.
اتفضلي رضوى. حاولي تتكلمي عربي حتى انا اترجم لك لو عايزه.
أنا اسمي رضوى ممدوح.
I will translate what she said. She's
No problem.
okay. اتكلم.
متخرجة بقالي شهرين لسه من فنون جميلة، ودرست ديكور سينوغرافيا. بس فدي أول مرة يعني أشارك في الإيفنت ده، فمبسوطة جدا يعني إن أنا بقابل ناس كتير وبعرف يعني ناس كتير. بس ف يعني أنا مبسوطة قوي بالإيفنت ده الحقيقة إن أنا شاركت فيها.
أهلا بيك يا رضوى. She's just graduated 2 months ago from Fine Art University, and she's happy to be connected with all of you.
Ah, shukran. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, again, hey, I'm gonna plug my plug the competition. You're eligible, and Heba, you're eligible as well. Even though I know you're working here now, but if your home address is and your studies have been in outside the U.S., then I encourage you to join us. So registration closes March 1st. Applications are due March 22nd.